Hello there! My name is Ren, and today in this video I wanted to help out some college students who might be struggling to pick the right iPad to buy, so let's get started. I have the original budget iPad 6th edition. It has worked just fine for me, but I wanted to see the hype behind the iPad Pro. I, just like you, scoured the internet for a video that would help me decide on upgrading. I didn't find anything that persuasively swayed me in one direction or another, so here I am trying to make a comprehensive video that will help you make up your mind. I respect your time and, as a college student, totally understand that your time is valuable, so I will give you the timestamps for the different sections of this video and an upfront reveal of my final decision. All links are also in the description below, and don't forget to subscribe for more tech, productivity, and music videos coming very soon. After all of my research, I decided to upgrade to the iPad Pro this year in 2020. I'm here to tell you everything that I found and give you my personal advice based on all of my research. I think that an important question to start off asking yourself is, why do I want an iPad? Or in more detail, what do I want from an iPad and how am I going to use it? After asking myself these questions, I was able to then complete my research to see which iPad fit my goal more, the budget iPad or the iPad Pro. In fact, this question can even help you decide between not only the two iPads covered in this video, but also the iPad Air, which I have not personally used, but you could research on your own. For me personally, and probably for many students out there, my main goal for having an iPad is to be able to take notes effectively and quickly. As you know, the iPad is great for note-taking and can store all of your information digitally, which reduces the hassle of papers and printing. I also would like my iPad to function as a consumption device. By that, I mean for watching YouTube, browsing Safari, and even viewing an occasional document on Google Docs. Another bonus thing I wanted from my iPad is to handle music or photo editing if I ever needed to do so, even though this is not something that I do very often. This YouTube channel is for tech, productivity, and music, and so I often need to do some music editing as well for work. I wanted to have the option for doing some basic audio editing if I needed to, or even edit some photos before I upload to social media. So, moving forward in this video, please keep these goals in mind, both for me and for yourself, so that you can make the best possible choice at the end of this video. So, as I mentioned before, I've been using the budget iPad for a few years now. I have the 6th generation model with 64 gigabytes of storage in space gray. Something that might be important for me to note is that storage is not an issue for me. As you can tell, none of my main goals for having an iPad actually require me to have lots of storage, so the storage was definitely not a deciding factor for me. But if you store lots of documents or pictures on your iPad, this is something you should definitely take into consideration. Again, the budget iPad has been functioning great for me. In fact, it has all of the same basic functions that you would find in an iPad Pro. I have been able to take notes for basically all of my college classes, and everything is stored safely to the cloud. I will be making a specific video about my note-taking apps, and I use quite a lot of them in the future, so leave a like and let me know in the comments if you would like to see that video. Also subscribe and turn on notifications so you'll find out when I release it. The main reason I bought the budget iPad in the first place was because it was cheap, and I wanted to save money at the time. I'm sure for many of you as well, splurging on a super expensive iPad and then spending another $100 or more for the Apple Pencil just doesn't sound too great. The only dissatisfaction I found from the budget iPad was the writing experience. Now, in a lot of YouTube videos, people say that if you haven't used an iPad Pro before, you most likely won't notice the difference in writing on a budget iPad. For me, this was not true. I could notice the lag on the screen as I was writing, and perhaps this is because I write quite quickly, but I think that most people should be able to feel this difference. Another thing that most people don't mention is the sound feedback from the Apple Pencil. When writing on the screen, it felt very cheap and even flimsy. Just didn't feel like a premium product. You could hear the noise when writing and it felt really strange. The best way I can describe it is that it felt very empty. Here's what I mean. For the purposes of this video, I will be referring to the iPad Pro 2020 edition. I can make a video in the future regarding my decision to buy the iPad Pro 2020 instead of the iPad Pro 2018, so let me know if you would like to see that in the comments. Also subscribe so you can stay updated. So here are the main differences that helped me make up my mind. Now, obviously, price is a huge factor at play here as both devices come out at completely different price tags, but I will discuss this in a few minutes. The biggest, most important difference between the budget iPad and the iPad Pro is the refresh rate. I won't be using fancy tech language in this video for those of you that might not understand, but basically a faster refresh rate means that the iPad Pro is able to process information quicker and essentially have a better reaction time to anything that you do on it. This also means that the lag between your Apple Pencil and your actual screen is a lot less noticeable. Of course, this isn't perfect, but I find it to be an almost immediate response. Here is the lag on the budget iPad slowed down. And here is the lag on the iPad Pro, again, slowed down. There's a big difference, and although you can't see it while you're writing, you can certainly feel the change. It feels a lot more like you are writing in real life on the iPad Pro. Another one of the huge differences between the budget iPad and the iPad Pro is that the budget iPad does not have a laminated display. What this means is that on the budget iPad, there is a slight gap between the actual display and where your Apple Pencil hits, so it does not seem like you are writing directly on the screen. This doesn't make a huge difference if you are viewing from a top angle. However, the gap can clearly be seen if you are viewing from the side. This gives, once again, a really strange sort of feeling that makes everything a lot less realistic. Another huge factor that differentiates the two iPads is the Apple Pencil. The new Apple Pencil 2 only works with the iPad Pro. The old Apple Pencil works with both the budget iPad and the iPad Pro. Now, the main functional differences between these two Apple Pencils are 1, the way that they charge, and 2, the way to switch tools. The way to charge the old Apple Pencil is extremely unconventional and inefficient. I often find myself needing to stop my work, or worse, in the middle of a class to stop and recharge it. Not to mention, it's really easy to break the iPad if you just knock the pencil in a different direction. It also takes up a lot more space than necessary, and another issue is that it's extremely easy to lose the cap on your pencil as well. The new Apple Pencil 2 snaps magnetically onto the side of the iPad and works great, and I never find that it is out of battery at any point during the day. There is a new way to switch between tools with the new Apple Pencil 2, and that is double tapping the edge of the pencil. This makes taking notes infinitely more effective and so much quicker too. Trust me, it makes the process just so much smoother, and once you try it, you definitely won't be able to go back. So the 3 things we discussed earlier, refresh rate, laminated screen, and the new Apple Pencil are all extremely important in the overall writing experience of an iPad. I wanted the best possible feeling when I was writing, not necessarily like writing on paper, which can easily be solved using a screen protector like Paperlike, but a smooth experience that allowed my pencil to glide over the screen, something that would actually make me want to do more work just because it felt great. The next difference was actually quite important to me. Whether you are right or left-handed, depending on the placement of your budget iPad, the home button is often in the way of your hand. I found that I had to constantly rotate the placement of my iPad so that my hand would not accidentally press the home button. This became a really huge annoyance and hassle, so it's very nice that the iPad Pro doesn't have a physical home button. Rather, it uses the same mechanism as recent iPhones, which is just a swipe up from the bottom of the screen and it takes you straight home. To me, a big deal breaker on the iPad Pro was the thin bezels. It made the device look so much more high quality and aesthetically pleasing. I think that visuals are extremely important in terms of a study tool. Since if something looks pretty, I'm definitely more likely to pick it up. Additionally, the thin bezels make the most of the space on the iPad itself. The budget iPad seems like a great waste of space in comparison. Also, the budget iPad just seems to look a lot cheaper to me, while the iPad Pro has a more premium look, not to mention that the heft just feels a lot better to the hand as well. the Pro model seems a lot more valuable. Another point is the design of the Apple Pencils. The Apple Pencil 2 itself is a lot cleaner than the original Apple Pencil, with a really nice grip as well since it has a flat surface on one side. When charging the new Apple Pencil, it looks a lot nicer on the iPad Pro as well. Charging the original Apple Pencil looks a little funny and maybe even ridiculous at times. Okay, so now we're here to finally talk about the price. I think it's easy for us as broke college students to get caught up in the price of something. However, it's important to think of technology, especially powerful technology like an iPad, as a long-term investment. Through your iPad, your grades will get so much better since you're able to make the best notes possible and organize your thoughts. This will eventually result in really great rewards in the future if you think about it. For me, if I'm able to get more done on an iPad Pro because it has more functionality, I like the writing experience, or I think it looks better, the price is completely worth it to me. Think of buying the budget iPad base model this way. A total $309 payment, meaning about $25 a month for a year. This is just like paying for a Netflix and Spotify subscription. An iPad seems like a better deal, doesn't it? Also, don't forget, you will get so much more out of your iPad than just 1 year, so overall it's completely worth the price. If you're able to save up for an iPad Pro and weigh in what I talked about in this video, go ahead and purchase it. Don't forget to go through the Apple Education Store to get a student discount. Currently, it is $50 off on the iPad Pro 2020. A good option for purchasing either a budget iPad or an iPad Pro is looking for refurbished options. Amazon has its own native Amazon Renewed program, and I've purchased products from them reliably before. Also, Apple's own Refurbished Products are really great as well. If you're looking to buy a budget iPad, you can get deals down to $200. And if you're looking for an iPad Pro, unfortunately, as of right now, you can only buy refurbished 2018 models, but they go for as cheap as $580 from what I've seen, which is such a great deal. Refurbished products are a great alternative for students. They have been officially approved and reviewed, so they are generally really reliable and shouldn't have any problems at all. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, my personal winner is the iPad Pro 2020. The overall factors that swayed me was the wonderful writing experience and appearance of the iPad Pro. A better feeling of writing on the iPad itself has been able to boost my productivity, and I've been working a lot more effectively. It may sound superficial, but the aesthetic appearance of the iPad also played a big role. I've been using my iPad a lot more often because it is just so great to use and look at. Such a joy for me, personally. This is what made it. I'm able to get more done, and that is the whole point of buying an iPad. Thanks so much for watching this video, and please let me know if you guys enjoyed it, and if it helped you make a decision on which iPad to buy. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask in the comments. I'll be reading all of them and responding as quickly as possible. Thanks again for sticking around, and I hope I'll see you in my next video.